Hello and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. The head of state chairs the 14th session of the Council of Ministers. And on the international scene in the Democratic Republic of Congo, first country risk conference in Kinshasa. Those were our major top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. Under the chairmanship of the head of state and head of government was held today the 14th session of the Council of Ministers where five issues were on the agenda. Let's listen to the report of the head of diplomacy and spokesman of the government.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, sous la présidence du chef de l'État, son Excellence M. Soumaïla Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 14e séance du Conseil des ministres en ce mardi 11 octobre 2022. Étaient inscrites à l'ordre du jour 5 questions. Au préalable, le Conseil des ministres s'est longuement penché sur les attaques terroristes de Garabtissan et qui ont causé la mort de 7 soldats, avec 4 blessés et 6 soldats portés.
During the 14th session of the Council of Ministers, the following texts were examined and approved. For the Ministry of Youth and Culture, first issue, draft law on the creation of the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture. This bill concerns the creation of the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture, created by Law Number 162, Year 22, 80th Legislature. This agency has for mission to develop, promote, and preserve the Djiboutian culture in order to inspire, encourage, and support the new dynamics of cultural development. The field of action is at the same time artistic and cultural. It includes all the cultural and artistic fields. The agency will have to administer and manage technical and human resources located on several sites. This structure will contribute to the development of the cultural promotion in the Republic of Djibouti. Second issue, draft decree amending the provisions of Decree Number 2014-162 PR6 relating to the modalities of granting the grand prize of the Head of State Youth Initiative. The purpose of the draft decree is to amend certain provisions of the decree on the modalities for granting the grand prize of the Head of State's Youth Initiative. This draft text updates and introduces necessary adjustments following the new missions of the ministerial department in charge of the implementation of the youth and culture policy. It provides for better targeting and more efficiency in favor of the commitment and initiative of young people with the granting of awards for any association and or any young person who has distinguished himself in a particularly exemplary manner in the field of activities ranging in priority from social, professional integration, popular education, and associative life. As for delegated ministry in charge of digital economy and innovation, third issue, draft decree on the establishment of the Djibouti Port Community System Platform. This draft decree aims to establish the Djibouti Port Community System Platform, which is a single portal for submission and completion of formalities in the port field. Faced with the growing challenges of competition, our country has equipped itself with important means to strengthen our geostrategic position. Significant investments have been made with the launch of deep water sports equipped with modern facilities to serve the latest generation of ships. These efforts have borne fruit by placing our port system among the best ports in Africa and in the world in terms of performance but also connectivity. Thanks to the ecosystems of maritime port and free zone projects resulting from the vision of the head of state, His Excellency Soumaïla Omar Guelleh, our country has also positioned itself as an essential trade hub. This trend toward digitalization is not new and has accelerated in recent years as a tool for competitiveness between ports, but also for countries with a vocation to become a hub in global trade. This platform will provide users with an efficient tool for the fluidization and facilitation of important cross-border formalities. The single submission platform for the entire port community will reduce transit time and improve the security and efficiency of cargo traffic management. Ministry of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights. Fourth question, draft decree appointing the members of the National Commission of Human Rights. The following are appointed. For the public administration, Mr. Ali Soubani Ateye, Mrs. Ifrah Ali Ahmed, and Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim. On behalf of the civil society, religious community, and university faculty researchers, Ms. Amina Ahmed Abdullahi, Mr. Muhammad Ali Muhammad, Mrs. Fathia Dahir Abdullah, Mr. Abdullahi Osman Dahir were appointed. For the Ministry of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, fifth question, draft decree on appointment. Mr. Idris Musa Ahmed, Senior Technical Advisor to the Minister of Youth and Culture is appointed. Mrs. Mahab Abdurrahman Ali, Technical Advisor of the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, and Mrs. Yasmin Ahmed Musa, Senior Technical Advisor to the Minister of City, Urbanism and Housing. Mr. Ahmed Abdullah Muhammad, Senior Technical Advisor to the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, and Ms. Bilan Hassan Ismail, Director of Sustainable Development.
Des droits de l'homme. Au titre de l'administration, M. Ali Soubani Atteye est nommé donc président de la commission, Mme Ifra Ali Ahmed, membre, M. Ali Ahmed Dini, membre, au titre du barreau, de la société civile, de la communauté religieuse et du corps professoral, Mme Amina Ahmed Abdullahi, M. Mohamed Ali Mohamed, Mme Fathia Dahir Abdullahi et M. Abdullah Ousmane Dahir, donc sont les membres à part entière de cette...
The Embassy of the People's Republic in China and the Republic of Djibouti presents its compliments of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Djibouti and has the honor to bring to its attention the following. Shocked by the recent attack on the Djiboutian Army Regiment in Gabartisan, the embassy condemns this criminal act and offers its condolence to the families of the victims. Wishing a speedy recovery to the injured, the embassy stands by the Djiboutian government and people to preserve peace and stability in Djibouti. The Embassy of China taking this opportunity to renew to the ministry the assurance of its high consideration. Still on the national scene, on Tuesday, October 11th, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, accompanied by Colonel Major Mohammed Kayat Gele, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff and a high-level delegation of the Djiboutian Army, went to Beledweyne in Somalia to meet on the site the DNDF, Djibouti National Defense Force, which is currently under the command of the Commander of Sector 4, Colonel Hassan Jama. The honorary troops of the Djibouti and Ethiopian armed forces were both present at the Beledweyne airport to receive, with the military honors due to him, the Chief of Staff and his delegation. Once the troop was reviewed, the whole delegation was escorted to the El Jale camp. Let's follow. Indeed, all positions occupied by Djibouti forces are on a high alert site since the latest terrorist attacks dated October 3rd, 2022, having caused several casualties in the ranks of the Somali force and to the Djiboutian side. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Behind this trip of the SEMCA to the theater of operation were two main objectives. The first was to gauge the morale of the military contingents of Djibouti and raise its, if it's necessary. In addition, it was conveyed to the soldiers the assurance of the Republic of Djibouti, including the members of the government and all the Djiboutian armed forces, that support and congratulate them in this operation to restore peace in Somalia. Their courage, their dedication, their sense of duty, and especially the volunteerism they show to help these brotherly people in an inevitable proof of the complicity and the brotherhood between our two nations and between our two armies. Will not fail to add the same guy in his allocation with the executives of the command of Sector 4 and those of the battle on Hill 9. In his second approach, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was impregnated with the situation of the sector on the operational level, the enemy movement, the advance of the ATM's troops, and the civil military actions carried out by the Djiboutian forces to representation made by the Djibouti officers of the Sector 4. At the end of the meeting, the General Semga gave his directives to the commander of Sector 4 and to the commander of Bat Hill 9. He insisted on the reinforcement of the device and the vigilance at any time. He reminded that the main mission of the two battalions in Somalia is to ensure peace and security for the Somali people. inspection that followed of the soldiers' homes showed us that the morale of the troops has not been affected by the attacks of October 3rd. Indeed, it was with the songs and distinctive smiles that the female personnel of the armed forces deployed to Beledweyne welcomed the Chief of the Defense Staff and his delegation to their ward. Finally, this inspection will end with the warm goodbyes of the personnel of Bat Hill 9 and the photos that will immortalize this moment. The Djiboutian delegation led by the SEMGA will return to the airport before taking off for its return to Djibouti. The Djiboutian delegation led by the Ministers of Economy and Finance in charge of Industry, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawale, and the Budget, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, and the Government of the Central Bank of Djibouti, Mr. Ahmed Usman Ali, executives of the various departments and accompanied by the Ambassador of Djibouti in Washington, Mr. Mohammed Ziad Douale, met with the Director of the Department of the Middle East and Central Asia, Mr. Jihad Azur, and his teams to discuss bilateral relations between Djibouti and the IMF. The meeting discussed regional instability, the microeconomic situation of the country, and the effect of exogenous crises such as the logistics crisis, the food crisis, and the Ukrainian crisis, not to mention the regional crisis. For 2 years. The contest is becoming increasingly difficult, has recognized the IMF. The news event of the week is the official opening tomorrow in Djibouti of the 58th meeting of the Steering Committee of the African Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, better known as AFORSE. The Djiboutian Minister of Justice in charge of Prison Affairs, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, will preside over the opening ceremony of the meeting and will take advantage of this platform to deliver the content of the policy of the government and the President of the Republic on the issues of transparency and good management of public finances. Of the 56 member countries of the organizations, 25 countries with more than 100 delegates, including the 12 permanent members of the Steering Committee of the organization, are present at the transparency and good management of public finances, good governance being one of the major challenges of the continent, in order to prepare the agenda and the discussion documents for the 58th meeting of the Steering Committee. The two technical commission of the organization met separately this morning. In a perspective of eliminating borders for a better economic prosperity in Africa, the Central Bank, in collaboration with the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, which is also known in short as POPS, organized a workshop which focused on a presentation of the POPS, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, a financial market infrastructure that will allow instant payments in local currencies between African countries by simplifying cross-border transactions and reducing reliance on hard currency for these transactions. POPS is expected to significantly boost intra-African trade. The financial agriculture that is POPS will serve as a continental platform for the processing, clearing, and settlement of intra-African trade payments based on a multilateral net settlement system with the potential to reduce transaction time to seconds, removing a major impediment to the growth of intra-African trade, services, and goods. This presentation workshop held at the Sheraton was attended by the top tier of the banking industry. A series of questions and answer session was open once the presentation was over. This exchange between the team in charge of presenting this Pan-African project and the actors of the place was successful. Let's listen now to various reactions taken from this meeting.
Central Bank about the PAPS program, which is a payment messaging system for Africa, which was launched by Africa Exim Bank. I think it's a great initiative. It will help process payments throughout the continent, which will enhance intra-trade within Africa, and this will give us great reach within the continent. SCOC International Bank, we are very delighted to have such a system coming to Djibouti, and for now it's a pilot project, but I think it's a great initiative that will facilitate commercial activities, payments, and it's a very modern system which is compatible with ISO 20022, and we are very happy to have that in Djibouti.
So PAPS is the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. It was launched by Afrexim Bank and the African Union, and the main objective of PAPS is to become the payment and settlement system for the African Continental Free Trade Area. And as of today, PAPS has successfully concluded its pilot phase in the West African Monetary Zone that is made up of Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and the Gambia. And here we are today in Djibouti.
6 countries.
Yes, those are 6 countries. So we are in Djibouti because the Central Bank of Djibouti is the first central bank outside of the West African Monetary Zone to have joined the PAPS network. So we're here to complete the integration of the Central Bank of Djibouti on PAPS. And we have also met the General Directors of commercial banks, and this is because commercial banks would be the first to introduce the platform to the end consumer. So today was a very successful meeting.
The Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saleh Bonito Turab, and the Secretary General of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, proceeded this morning to the launch of the first phase of the vaccination campaign against poliomyelitis at the preschool Nasib. The launching ceremony was attended by the representative of UNICEF and the representative of WHO and several senior officials of the health department. Let us recall that the first phase of anti-polio vaccination campaign will take place from 10 to 14 October 2022 and will target all children under 5 years and is part of the provision against the spread of poliovirus throughout the national territory. Free of polio for over 2 decades, our country conducts periodic vaccination campaigns to maintain this achievement at all costs and allow Djiboutian children to flourish in a healthy environment. On this occasion of launch, 100 children were able to receive their dose of vaccine against polio by the officials. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Health also indicated that his department has enough vaccines to vaccinate more than 156,194 children throughout the territory. On this Monday, October 10, took place at the Catholic Church of Djibouti a ceremony of launching of pedagogical training for teachers of schools of children with special needs by the coming of a delegation of Italian experts of the Mediterranean Association Without Disability. We're present at the Director General of the National Agency of Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Douali Said Mahmoud, Bishop of Djibouti, MJR Gergio Burton, President of the Mediterranean Association Without Disability and Head of Mission of the Delegation of Experts, the Director of Social Integration and Rehabilitation at MPH. This meeting was aimed at improving the pedagogy of the teachers of the special needs schools so that they can develop learning methods and transmit the knowledge in the development of the learner. On this occasion, the Director General welcomed the initiative and thanked the delegation of experts and encouraged the teachers who will follow this training to contribute to the learning of children with disabilities. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, the country risk conference organized for the first time in the Democratic Republic of Congo aimed to guide investors by screening the country's strengths and weaknesses.
Largest in terms of population, it has one of the strongest growth rates in the region. With its natural wealth and demographic vitality, the DRC has undeniable economic access, but it still faces challenges. How far has the country come? And what are its dynamics? A first of its kind event organized in Kinshasa took stock of these issues and improved economic context. The Country Risks Conference, organized for the first time in the DRC, aimed to guide investors by shifting through the country's strengths and weaknesses. The major political and economic players met to discuss a report prepared annually by the Pan-African rating agency Bloomfield, in which macroeconomic, social, and security criteria are analyzed. In the end, the country was given a rating of 5.1 out of 10.
Well, by this our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again. Take care.